People of Fengrain rebel. They do so with some dignity, but they do so with some style and with some passion. We're here at Fengrain Hall today, where the Planning Committee of Fengrain District Council is about to decide on the future possibilities and the future hopes for an anaerobic digestion plant in the village of Wimblington. The number of protesters in the hall, we've estimated in the council chamber here at Fengrain Hall, somewhere in the order of 70 or 80. Lots of people, though, probably not being able to make it, who've been at previous public meetings to protest against the anaerobic digestion plant, probably not here because of work commitments and other things. But the depth of the feelings you can sense around you just before this meeting gets underway. We're still 15 minutes before the meeting gets underway, and I have to say I've very rarely before a meeting in the last 10 or 15 years at Fengrain Hall seen it as crowded and as buzzing as this. The placards are there, people claiming that localism is being denied them in terms of decision making, and clearly the message is residents have said no to this anaerobic digestion plant that they believe will increase traffic and disrupt their lives to such an extent that their lives are going to be seriously blighted in their home village of Wimblington. The committee, 15 minutes away before we get underway. Let's see what happens during the debate.
We have got local residents here today, as you can see, are very, very concerned. They've put the ball in the members' court. There's no doubt about that with emails, letters and everything else. It's a very difficult for this committee. I wouldn't want to be making the decision, I'll tell you now, with officers' recommendations.
I have a proposer, Councillor Murphy, seconded by Councillor Mayor. All those in favour of refusal of this application, please show.
Oh, what? Get something going.
Against? That application is refused.
So we have a decision, we think we've got a decision. Basically it is to refuse the anaerobic digestion plant at Wimblington. Now whether that decision holds or not, we'll see in the next few weeks. The outcome is that there's going to be a sort of a delegated decision-making triumvirate, or even maybe more of councillors and officers who will try and assemble together what the objections were today from the councillors to stopping this going through. They can't go on highways apparently because that's been approved by the County Council, and they have a problem with smell. They heard from an EHO, an environmental health officer, this afternoon, and she was adamant that the controls were in place. But there were a number of other things. One councillor, Councillor Murphy, who I've never seen shine so radiantly at a council meeting, quoting policy after policy by which it should be refused, and other people asking him for the policy detail, and he said, well, you're on the planning committee, you should know the policy grounds under which I'm recommending we oppose this application. So ultimately, what does happen over at Wimblington, whether there is going to be an appeal, should it ultimately is refused, which it looks like it will now be refused, I would suspect that this is only stage one. I've had a long chat after the meeting with Paul Rendell, the Managing Director of Fengrain. He's got to go back to his board of directors. Don't forget that the Fengrain Cooperative is owned by its members, so a lot of farmers will be inputting their thoughts into what happens now. But for the foreseeable future, this is not going to happen. But whether that is sustainable for the long term, we can only wait and see. Should there be an appeal, as was pointed out by Graham Knowles, the Chief Planning Officer, to the members of the public who were there in great number, as I said earlier, that will be the opportunity for them at an appeal to again raise the issues of localism, and whether Eric Pickles is still the government minister at that stage responsible for it or not, we will then see whether he believes there is grounds for localism to be applied in this instance, and basically what the people of Wimblington have said, up with this we will not put. Mr Rendell believes that he needs to engage, I think, a little bit more with the people of Wimblington. He also criticised one local councillor for refusing 3 invitations to visit him. He's also been critical of Steve Barclay, the MP, who said he's declined 3 times to visit Fengrain to have a look at close proximity with what their plans are for the future. And Mr Rendell, it's very clear that there is a difficult future ahead for Fengrain unless they can find something to do with all of the sugar beet, which seems to be the core of this issue and basically is surplus to a lot of farmers' requirements. So that's where we are this afternoon. Definitely for now refused. Lots of ground though to cover in the coming weeks as the grounds for refusal get sorted, and then we see whether there is the will for an appeal. There appears to be at the moment for that will for an appeal, but Mr. Rendell, as I've said, will have to take that back to his members, and they will have to ultimately decide whether they're going to fight with the people of Wimblington and therefore perhaps have to engage a little bit more fully with them in that process if they're going to win this argument.